All right. Hey, everybody. We are back for episode six. Yes, episode six. Welcome to our next great read session. I am Carrie Harris from Hillwood Middle School.
And I am Misty Shea from Central High.
I'm Lauren Stetler from Keller Middle.
And we have our little Twitter things up there for you to follow us if you would like to. I did choose the perfect backgrounds for tonight's slides because I'm just tired of the heat already and it's just the beginning of June. Yay. And so the words are melting because that's what I feel like every time I walk outside these days. But
yeah. And I just saw blood, but that's okay because
that's because that's what it's supposed to be is blood. But I just thought it also looked like they were melting under the heat of the desert sun. So.
They are. Norris from the North American Guide to Teenagers.
Yes.
Got it right.
It's Austin. That's Austin, Texas, right there.
It's too hot in Texas.
We are talking tonight about series. You asked for it, and we are here with it. Even me, I found something to talk about. I'm very proud of myself. I even made Miss Shea not talk about one of hers because I wanted to talk about one that was similar because I don't have many to choose from. So yay, we have some good ones to talk about. Ladies, did you have anything you wanted to say before we get started?
Can I say it?
Sure.
No.
Let's get serious. Lauren had to hear that earlier today in my KU session. You're welcome.
Oh my gosh. All right. And as always, Miss Youngblood, tell us how to see the chat if we can't see the chat.
Perfect. Thank you for the cue. If you cannot see the chat, please click on your profile button in the upper right-hand corner and then click create channel. Nothing crazy will happen, we promise. It'll just open up the chat box so that you can chat back with us. I'll be in there moderating and feeding your questions and suggestions back to the ladies tonight.
And we do have a book to give away tonight, so make sure you are being active in the chat because that's how we're going to decide who gets a book.
What book is it? Do you know yet? Or are we going to surprise them?
I'll let them choose. I have a lot to choose from.
All right, we'll look at it later. Okay, let's get started. I have also added in some other things because I'm a big dork when I'm putting these slides together, and I decided to put in things of other people who like to be cool. For instance, this dog, he's also hot and he decided to lay down in some ice and I thought it was a funny picture. So yes, these are all animals in the ways that they are cool. Did you get it, Misty? He's a hot dog.
No, he's a cold dog. He's a cold wiener.
All right, so we are first up with Miss Stetler.
All right. Woo, I love Renegades so much. This is such a fun trilogy. So Renegades is the first of the trilogy, and it is about golly, there's so much involved. So there are, let me simplify it a little bit. In this world, you have your heroes and your villains. That should be pretty black and white, right? Not at all.
Sure.
Not at all. My favorite thing about this trilogy is how Marissa Meyer does such a wonderful job of character building. So you really get to know your characters. The prologue in itself, so the very beginning of the book, I was choking back tears, had to put it down, couldn't continue because, oh, the heartstrings, pulled them all. That one was really hard to read, I'm going to be honest, but it's worth reading the rest of it because oh, it's so good. So you get to know Nova. Nova is one of our main characters. So you have two different points of view. Nova is what we would consider a villain. And her villain name is Nightmare. She can put people to sleep and then, fair game. If you're asleep, you can die. So Nova, you get to hear her backstory and what made her become a villain, and that is the prologue. And then the other point of view is from Adrian, who is a hero. His dads are like the top superheroes in the society, and he is like their golden boy, and he is Sketch. He actually has a really cool superpower. He can draw things on any sort of material, and it can materialize out of whatever it is. So he can draw like on the side of a piece of metal, like jewelry, and he can pull it out and it'd be real right there, which is super cool in my opinion. I think that'd be awesome.
My favorite thing he drew was a velociraptor.
A mini one. The little dinosaur for his brother. which is a whole different story there. But so this one is about the heroes and the villains. It's not black and white at all. Everything is gray area because you just love the characters. So you're like, well, how is that bad? How is that good? Everything crosses these lines, and it's really more about the characters than it is about the society as a whole. And I just loved them. It's such a fun trilogy. There's so much action, and yet you get to know the people, and there's a little romance, but there can't be. Nova ends up going undercover with the heroes to try to infiltrate and ultimately take them down for the villains, but that becomes very complicated. So there's a lot that goes on there. So good.
Isn't this the same lady who wrote the Cinder series?
Yes, same one who wrote Cinder and also Heartless.
Heartless is my favorite book ever. Sorry.
I didn't read Heartless. I need to read that one. Cinder was not my favorite series. I thought it was too predictable, but the kids love it. And so I had low expectations for Renegades when I tried it, and I absolutely loved it. It was like reading a movie.
But this is one of those series that you absolutely have to finish, because even in the epilogue in the third book, you're like, oh, you have to finish.
I had a student tell me the same thing, that I needed to finish it.
How to finish that one. Just so we're talking a few more series here, I like to say a read alike or read this if you like Renegades, is Steelheart by Brandon Sanderson. Another fantastic trilogy.
Yes.
With heroes and not necessarily villains, but regular people. But the heroes are not actually heroes. They're just people with powers, and they're taking over. They're actually the bad guys. That one actually has a male main character, which is a little bit different from everything else that's going on right now, which I really love. You hear his sarcastic, snarky voice, and then he goes off on these tangents on how everything is, no, hear me out. It's like this because it's just really goofy, and I love that. And then Zeros by Scott Westerfeld, where again, the superheroes are not quite the heroes. It's kind of a little more involved. So
It's all a bunch of anti-heroes.
So.
Yes.
Love these. Definitely.
All of that is amazing. I've actually have read a lot of the ones you talked about, just not the whole thing. Sorry.
I'll read the whole thing.
Sorry, not sorry. All right, next one. Oh, look, he's cooling off. I thought that was cute too. We started with dogs. We'll do other animals soon. Do you have a rubber ducky on there? I thought you were going up to get a rubber ducky off your piano back there, Miss Steller.
Did you
I
have a
don't
baby
want to
goat?
pull a Carrie and have it all dark in here.
You need a baby goat.
Not anymore. I figured it out. Okay, here we go. It's up to you, Miss Stettler. Miss Stettler? No, Miss Shea.
All right, so Cassandra Clare, I love every single series she's ever written. So she has the monopoly on Shadowhunters, and Freeform/CW actually did a show, a series on it, but you cannot gauge it from that series. The series was not very good. It was okay, but the books are better. So Clockwork Angel, essentially what this series is way back in the day, evil was, taking over the world. So an angel came down and mixed angel blood with human blood. So you have these humans who are just a smidgen bit of an angel. So they have powers like angels do. And they're able to put little like glyphs on their skin, which give them whatever power that the glyph says. So if they need to be not seen, they can do a little thing of invisibility. Or if they need to be faster, they can do a little glyph for that. So it's really cool. I mean, it's the good versus evil. And I like the Clockwork Angel series because it takes place back in London, way back in like the 1800s, 1900s. So you've got that whole aspect, and the main characters, it goes from Tessa's point of view, where she's actually half warlock and half something else. I'm not gonna tell you because that'll be a spoiler. So she's half supposedly evil, but she doesn't even know it. She was raised as a human. She didn't even know she wasn't human. And then you have the Shadowhunters who are half angel, or not half, just have angel blood in them. And so they have these kind of superpowers. And they're fighting the evil in London way back in the day. And just the characters are just like, Will is one of the male characters, which his point of view comes, and then Tessa's point of view. He is so sarcastic and hilarious. There's one part where he explains why ducks are terrifying. Like, he loves everything except for ducks because they are terrifying. And he goes in this whole spiel, but it's just funny, but it also has that, I'm a sucker for good versus evil and, anything like that. And I love Cassandra Clare. I love her story. She just really describes the characters and creates this world with vampires and demons and just this entire dark with this entire light. Some other series that she's written that you might be more familiar with are the Angel of Bone series. That's what the Netflix show was made out of, called Shadowhunters. Lady Midnight, the Magnus Bane Chronicles, and then Chain of Gold is her most recent one that I love. I enjoy her style of writing. I like the whole Shadowhunter universe. And I love something about Cassandra Clare is she really is not afraid of adding any kind of character. She has LGBTQ characters. She has everything. And I just respect that. And she makes them really, it's not just like the token, this kind of person. She really, brings such just completeness to every character she writes. And they have their own stories and backstories and love interest and family drama. And it's awesome and amazing. So Cassandra Clare, anything that she's written, but my favorite to start out with is her Infernal Devices, her Clockwork Angel series.
And those are really the prequels that go with all the other ones anyway. So if you wanted to read them in order.
I would start with the Clockwork Angel series, the Infernal Devices first, and then you just keep going.
I did read something, how you said they all have these glyphs like tattoos and stuff on them. I think she was with a friend when they were getting a tattoo. She was in a tattoo parlor and they had them, the tattoos like all over the ceiling, like all these different drawings all over the ceiling. And that she got the idea of like having those glyphs, as you're calling them, like marking certain places. And that's where she got the idea of having it where people had those things on them as well. But she was in a tattoo parlor when she got that idea. So I thought that was kind of interesting. We heard Brent is in the chat and he got his free book. Who delivered his book to him? Who was that? Was that you?
Amazing Miss Shay.
All right. He gives it a 10 out of 10. In fact, what he said was, I can't even say it right. Fantically-tastic 10.
No, a 10 out of 10. And he says Iris gives him the heebie-jeebies. Iris is the evil twin. So she's psychologically and awfully evil.
Yes.
So, but I can't tell you more because it'll spoil it.
Well, we heard about that one last week and I haven't gotten to read it yet. So I need to.
It's so tiny. It'll be quick. It's good.
I need to get
You can borrow it from Brent.
Yeah, I'll have to. All right, we're moving on to the next slide, which is cats. I assume this cat is hot, either that or it's dead. I'm not sure, but I think it's just hot. I'm going to go with hot because if it was dead, that'd be really sad. But I thought it was a funny picture. So I'm trying to give cats their due. They're not my favorites. All right, so I want to talk about this. And we have talked about Aurora Rising and Aurora Burning, and we referred to this series. And this is, I love science fiction. That's my go-to. If I'm on a reading slump, I just go right to my science fiction shelves and I find something there that I'm going to love. And I so wish I had a copy of this book to share with you, to show you, because it's crazy. It's set up. You can see it's called the Illuminae Files. And so the whole purpose, the whole setup of this book is it starts you off in, you're dumped into the investigation of this horrible thing that happened on this distant mining planet, and it has been blown to pieces, and ships have been scattered with survivors from the planet, and they're investigating what actually happened. So when the Illuminae file starts, you are dumped into the beginning of the investigation of what happened. So you're introduced to two characters. One, there's a guy and a girl main character, and it goes back and forth in the first book between them. And the girl is a hacker. Well, I think they're both hackers, but this distant mining planet has been around for so long that they even had like schools and communities and stuff there, but it was completely illegal. They weren't supposed to ever have it there. And so at some point, a rival corporation comes in and decides they're going to blow up the planet. Well, at the time, the two main characters have just broken up. They're all mad at each other. All of a sudden, she's storming out of school because they just broke up. And all of a sudden, they're being bombed. Like there's bombs dropping everywhere, and they're all having to run to these ships. Well, she gets on one ship along with some other people. Her father and some other people she knows gets on another ship, and then her ex-boyfriend gets on the third ship. And so they're just dispersed and they don't even know what's going on. So you're reading the files through memos, through video transcripts. You also are seeing a little bit of like emails and stuff like that going back and forth between the girl and the guy, because she's trying to figure out what's going on. Have you seen my father? You know where he is. So they're communicating again. But you also have another character who is the AI of the entire ship. And that character, you talk about a creepy character. It gets pretty creepy. He's there helping, but is he really? I'm not sure. But anyway, they go back and forth trying to figure out how to get back together as far as all the people on these ships. And then the AI comes in, and his job is to protect the humans. But on one of the ships, a plague breaks out. So he's protecting the humans by not letting the plague get to any of the other humans, by doing these awful things to keep the ones who were infected away from it. It's not zombies or anything like that. It's just truly a sickness. It's crazy. The second book deals with the characters on another ship, so we get to know a whole new set of characters. And then the third book brings everybody back together again to go back to this planet where it all started, to figure out exactly what happened, who's really to blame, who's the real bad guys, who actually did die that we didn't know, who's actually still alive that we didn't know. It is a crazy fun. I read all 3 of them, ladies, all 3 of them. They were so good. I just love the alternative format of it is what I love.
And if you read all 3, that means they have to be good.
That's what my kids say, because they know I don't read all 3. So I'm like, when I say I read all of these, they're like, oh, if you read them, they must be.
If Carrie Harris rates anything a 4 on Goodreads, I have to read it.
I'm real stingy with 4 stars.
Me
real
too.
Stingy. If I give it a 3, it means I really didn't like it much, but I feel bad if the author's on Goodreads and sees it, so I don't want to go too low.
But a 5 though is like, but is it Harry Potter?
Right. How can you do that? They need some half stars. I need some halves in there.
I have too many 5 stars. I love books.
It's hard. It's hard when you like a bunch of books and you're comparing them all. Like, if that was a 5-star, well, then this one can't be a 5-star. So that's kind of how I look at it. All right. We are up next with another cat picture.
I need one of those air conditioners.
I need one right now. I'm in a bedroom that's in the part of the house that's just right in the sun. I need one of those air conditioners right now. All right, here you go. This is all you, Lauren. This is your favorite. She even tweeted to the author today.
I did. I didn't get a response today, but I didn't figure I'd get one. She's kind of a big deal. So
She's famous.
she is. By the way, if you do not follow Sabata here on Twitter, you should. She is hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
I love it when she talks about her kids and wanting chocolate like all the time. I can very much relate to her. So Number in the Ashes. You can see the 4 books out right now. The 5th one is coming out, I believe, in December. So we've got a little bit. So if this is one that catches your eye, you have a little while to read them all until the new one comes out, which is exciting. This one, in fact, I got excited knowing I was going to talk about this one, so I started rereading it because I just really like it.
Well, I kind of want to reread it now.
Okay, so Laia is one of our main characters. This one has 2 points of view, a guy and a girl, which again, I always love the differences there. Laia is a scholar, and the scholars are kind of the very bottoms of society. They have all of like the slave types of jobs. They're treated horribly ever since their land was taken over by the empire. And it all comes down to this Serix steel, which is what their weapons were made out of and why they were defeated so easily. So Laia's brother ends up getting captured and taken to the prison, and Laia's desperate to get him back. He's the last member of her family that she has, and so he tells her to find the resistance to get him out. Which in and of itself is a dangerous job, trying to go around and finding the resistance. And then she is told that in exchange for them going and giving up manpower and getting her brother out, that she will then have to become a spy in the Deadliest School, which is Blackcliff, which is where they train the people from the Empire to become masks. And masks are like the elite assassins of like their patrols. And it is a brutal school. That's all male except for they have one female every year, and that is Helene of their year. So the other main character is Elias, and Elias is training to be a mask. They are one day away from graduation, and he wants to desert, which is absolutely horrible. You will die. They will kill you for deserting. And bonus, his mother is the commandant. She leads the school, and she is to compare a character, she's Umbridge. She's
Ursula from The Little Mermaid.
I don't know, and she's worse than Ursula. She is awful, an awful character, and it's one of those you just love to hate because she's that awful. Like there doesn't seem to be any gray area. She's just awful. And so Laya's job then is to become the commandant's servant and report back on what the commandant is doing, which is a horribly dangerous job. They just got rid of the third girl that she killed that year, and so Laya's going in there now. And so their lives end up crossing while she is at Blackcliff, and there becomes a little bit of a romance there. So very action-packed. Plenty of blood and guts in that one for sure. There's also a lot of fantasy elements to it too. There are different creatures and spirits and stuff that come into play, which makes it a little complicated. At times it can be a little hard to follow, but in reading it the second time, I'm getting it all a little bit better and I'm really loving it. So anything that you'll have to add on that one?
Swoon. 5-star, 5-star, 5-star. Like, love this series. Like, I actually am that weird person that I have only read half of the last book because I'm not patient enough to finish it to wait for the next book. So I actually now, because of you and your evilness, I'm going to go back to the beginning and reread all of them, which will probably take me till Saturday, and be sad again.
You call me the commandant. I want that now. I'm gonna go by Commandant. My Rita likes, or if you like this book, then read, are gonna be Rebel of the Sands, which was a Battle of the Books this year from middle school. Snow Like Ashes by Sarah Rush.
I read that whole series. Look
at you.
I did. I love that series.
Proud of you. That one I had a hard time with the names. Were really kind of silly, like autumn and winter and. Yeah. But I got over that because the story is just really good. Mm-hmm. And then also Court of Fives. You don't.
All of them.
I love that one. I love Court of Fives. That one takes a little while to get into, but it ends up.
I loved it from the beginning.
So those are some of my recs there.
All of those series are like on my top. Like, love them for all time. But I'm super hardcore diehard fantasy, so maybe that's why.
All of those very much are.
I liked most of the ones you said.
They are all very powerhouse female main characters too.
But that's not even it. I love the rich world building.
Oh, they're very much in all of them.
And they're not, even though they're read-alikes, they're not so similar that you're like, oh, they published that one and it became famous, so they published this one. It's kind of like Harry Potter and Charlie Bone. You're like, you only got that published because Harry Potter became famous. No offense, Charlie Bone.
Well, the way you were talking about it, Lauren, with there's a guy and girl main character, two different perspectives. Mm-hmm. I appreciate that because I get tired of reading the powerful girl protagonist constantly in fantasy. It's like, come on, move on. So I like having the powerful girl, but then I also like having the guy in there to kind of counterbalance that. So
and he's not like this weak guy that she has to try to save. So it's a complete cliche. No, they're both very strong characters and they have to work together. And I love that.
Yeah. We do need some more books that have a strong male protagonist. I'm ready for that.
I think YA is getting better at that. In the last couple of years, I just really feel like they're realizing that that's a gap in YA, and so we've been seeing a whole lot more.
Mm-hmm. I think you're right. Oh, there's a squirrel who's hot.
Oh my gosh. So I love camping at national parks. The last time I was at Yellowstone National Park, I was sitting on a bench and a squirrel seriously walked up to me and was sitting on my tennis shoe. But then I also found out a week later that at Yellowstone, there was a squirrel found that had the plague. So I don't know how to feel about that.
Yikes. I don't know about that either. All right, this is the one that Miss Shay's talking about because I made her not talk about another one. But this is a good series. I did read the first one of this one too.
So this is very dystopian. So if you love Hunger Games, you love all those dystopian, this is one that usually people don't know much about. Scott Westerfeld has actually written a lot of different series. I like this series because I think it hits home with a lot of what teenagers are struggling with right now. So essentially you have these kids that are raised in just like a dystopian type school, but when they become 16, they graduate and get to have this surgery that takes them from their perception of being ugly, but our perception of everybody looks like this, like that's normal, not even ugly. It'd be like me being like, I'm so ugly, I can't wait till I turn 16 because I get plastic surgery and become pretty. But with that, she meets this person named Shay, who's like, I don't want to become pretty. And she just can't even understand why. Why do you not want to be pretty? So Shay takes her to the island where these pretty kids get to live and play and do whatever they want all the time. And I can't tell you because it is a secret, but you find out that being pretty isn't everything. And I mean, I just think that there's so many parallels to what we live in right now and what people think. You know, everyone wants to be YouTube famous. Everyone is checking their Instagram and their Facebook and their Snapchat constantly. But this series really kind of shows you that there's power in what you are already, and being pretty has its own issues. And in this case, it's like sci-fi creepiness. So I don't want to be pretty. I'm good. But you get to see that. And then every single one of them, every book has its own little thing. So like the specials, instead of becoming pretty, they get stuff put into them, like to be like hardcore predators. So think like the Hunger Games when Snow made those, they turned the old players that died into those animals. Think that. So like with specials, these kids volunteered to get these alterations to their body so that they could become like supercharged police people and like, you know, sharp teeth and different. It really reminded me of Hunger Games, but Hunger Games came after this one. So maybe she got her idea from the uglies and extras and specials. But this whole series, like it just really hit home in that whole aspect of it. So if you like this series, some other read-alikes, kind of the whole sci-fi dystopian, you have Divergent, you have, of course, Hunger Games, not Dangerous Minds. Hold on, I've got to look at my sheet. Darkest Minds. They actually made a movie. The movie was kind of lame, so don't go off the movie. The Fifth Wave, the Match series, and the Giver series. All of those would really be really good read-alikes that you would really enjoy if, or you'll like the Uglies if you liked any of those series.
And
what did
Delirium.
you say?
Delirium, add that to that.
Delirium. I almost put that, but my list got too long. I do love Lauren Oliver. And my list was getting too long, and I was like, oh.
I want to talk a little bit about her too. I'm noticing when I'll talk about books and I say I read that whole series, they're all science fiction. Almost all of them.
That's okay. You like what you like. I'm okay with that. My thing is if you're reading, I always tell my students, I don't care if you're reading the back of the shampoo bottle while you're stuck in the bathroom. You're reading something. And so I don't care what kind of genre you're into. If you're reading, you're reading. And I mean, kudos to you.
Yeah, true story. Okay, we have one more book to talk about, actually several, and I saved my favorite picture for last. Look, he's so happy.
Aww.
There's nothing better than a happy elephant.
Look at that smile.
Oh, I love this picture. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about something called a duology because, like I said, like we've been mentioning several weeks now, that I don't have the stamina to stick with an entire series, especially when there's more than 3. But even 3 is too much because I feel like other books are calling my name, other characters, other stories, other settings, other worlds. And so I get distracted easily, I guess. So I really kind of like the duology. So if I really want to finish something, I can at least finish it with only one more book and not a whole bunch of other books. And something I saw when I was talking about duologies was Epic Reads has a site that talks about 22 YA duologies that you might love. So I'll talk about those in a minute as the read-alikes that might go with this. But Marie Lu, we've talked about her before. Love her stuff. She's amazing. I think we were talking before we started that Ms. Shea was talking about how every time we see her in person at any kind of conference or whatever, she's just so chill and so calm, and you just want to listen to her. She's just so wonderful and rich to listen to. Yeah, she just got a new book and just did a new book about a completely different, that's a fantasy. So yeah, I've read all of Marie Lu's books. This one, Warcross, I am a video game junkie. I have 2 grown boys. They're 26 and 21. And when they were growing up, I loved playing video games with them. All the RPG games, we're not talking like Call of Duty. We're talking like when they were younger. So, like Ratchet and Clank and, oh gosh, Jack and Daxter, those kinds of things where it's just like you're going through and you're on these missions and stuff. Warcross is a video game junkie's dream as far as what you want to read. If you are a huge gamer, you will be able to envision this world so easily. But she describes it in a ways that other people can as well. But Warcross is set in the future, and it is a time when Warcross is actually the name of the game. And basically everybody kind of lives within the Warcross world. They wear these VR goggles all the time and they walk around, and then that's their world. If they take them off, there's still a world there. It's not like there's no world left besides that, but they want to live there because it's more rich. It's amazing. Emika Chin is the main character, and she is kind of down and out. She's not very rich. She has to scrape up every penny she can find. And her job is a bounty hunter. She goes into the game of Warcross and she finds people who are illegally betting on the games that are being played within this world. And she goes in and she finds out who they are, finds their avatar, and then she figures out who they are in real life so that she can then get the police to go arrest them for illegally betting. So, and it doesn't pay very well, but she's good at it. She's a really good hacker. So one time she discovers there's this thing that she can do. Warcross has basically, it's like the Olympics of Warcross. So it's worldwide games that are being played. And she finds out if she can hack into the games, she might be able to find something that somebody has said, hey, do this and I'll give you a lot of money. So she decides to do it. She hacks into the opening games of the War Game Championships and accidentally completely defeats this one character, this one person who's supposed to be all that. And it was a complete accident. And all of a sudden she's an overnight sensation. And she's so afraid she's going to get arrested, that they're going to come and get her. She's like hiding out. And what ends up happening is the developer of the game's billionaire named Hideo Tanaka. He comes in and he wants to hire her because somebody is trying to infiltrate his business and his world and his Warcross world. And he feels like they're trying to take him down. So he's going to hire her to go into the games as a spy and try to find out through hacking who is this person who's trying to do this to him. So it is, it's a video game description, but you feel like you are in the game. It is amazing. And then in Wildcard, it's she actually gets to play the game with Hideo. So it's an amazing storyline. Lots of things that happen that you're not even like, oh my gosh, that's the person who's doing this. I love
the plot twist. That's all.
Yeah, I know. It is a huge plot twist. Sorry, I forgot to unshare my screen. But there's also, like I said, there's a website, Epic Reads. They have 22 YA duologies. And when I went through this and I thought, oh, I forgot that's a duology too. So the one that's not on there is Zenith by Lindsay Cummings. That's a great read alike that goes back to the first one with the Illuminate files. It's a great one. It's a duology. But some of the ones I saw on this, Miss Youngblood will love this. She's a big fan of Laini Taylor, but Strange the Dreamer and Muse of Nightmares is written as a duology. I haven't read that one, but I know Miss Youngblood has. She loves it. We also have The Wrath and the Dawn.
Yes.
By Renee Adia.
Yeah.
Love her. I just read a short story by her this afternoon. So that's a duology. Contagion, what we've been talking about forever, is a duology. Now I want to read the second one because I love Contagion so much. I don't have to divide. I don't have to invest in too many other books on that one. And then Six of Crows. That's a duology.
Six of Crows. Look.
Look.
She is like my favorite author in the entire world. Her Grishaverse is like, I would live there. And it's like a superpower. They each have, not everybody has them, but they have these powers. And then people hate magic. And it's just, I love Six of Crows. She also has King of Scar. Like she has all this whole Grishaverse.
Shadow and Bone was her first
Bone.
one. Yeah.
I mean, I'm obsessed with Bardugo. Like she is one of my favorite authors in the entire world.
I did
read all of her books. Tell her I sent you. I'm just kidding.
And she's amazing to listen to in person as well.
Oh, yeah, she's so chill and normal. Like, and she's famous, and she's like, but I'm not really. And I'm like, but you are.
She doesn't act like it at all. Not at all. So those were just a few duologies. I was just, and Lauren Oliver, we talked about that. The Replica and Ringer is a duology. And just real quick, Replica is a book you can, is two different characters, Lyra and Gemma. And on one side, you open the book and it's all Gemma's story. And then you flip it upside down, literally you flip it upside down and you're reading Lyra's story. And what I did was I read him one chapter at a time from each girl because it literally mirrors what's happening in the other girl's life. And so, I've had kids come in and say, no, I read Gemma's whole story first. And I wish I had read Lyra's whole story first. So that's a really cool one. Definitely sci-fi. So
I was thinking of, it's not a duology, but Ready Player One.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Very like Warcross. Fun stuff.
But that's all I got. That's all I got for duologies.
Fantasy though, Poison's Kiss and Poison's Cage.
Oh, I do like that one.
Good.
Forgot about that one. That was a Battle of Books book.
Mm-hmm.
A Bob book. So what books are we going to give away, Misty?
Oh, I don't know. Miss Youngblood, how many people do we have tonight?
Oh.
4. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm looking.
6.
Why don't we just do a random name, like pick a letter of the alphabet or something? Because as I'm looking through the chat, everybody's name starts with different letters.
How about I don't know. I'm bad at picking. Lauren, pick a letter.
I can't see the chat, so I'm gonna go with G.
Well,
the closest.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I think Diana is the closest to G.
There you go.
All right, Diana, you can choose from.
Well, actually, it was Brent, but he already got a book last week.
Got a book. So you can choose from A Good Girl's Guide to Murder or Love, Hate, and Other Filters. They're both amazing, amazing books. This really goes with the whole just cultural thing that's happening right now. But this one, obviously, we've talked about how amazing it is. So Diana, let us know which one.
So Audrey was telling Diana to choose the Love, Hate, and Diana said yes with lots of exclamation points.
Okay, so Diana, I know where you live, creepiness. I'll drop it by.
And any thoughts on what we should review next week?
What kind of books?
Oh my,
can we just do fantasy? I have read so many good fantasies lately. And then can we play the Mariah Carey song? Sweet, sweet fantasy, baby. Hello, 90s. No, that was 2000s. Or was that 90s?
Oh, that's 90s. That is 90s.
You weren't even born, Lauren. How do you know? I'm just kidding.
I wasn't even born. I'll go with that. I wasn't even born.
Or honestly, I don't know what we've done. We cover fantasy we've done historical. Can we do thriller?
Yes. Teen horror. Let's do it.
We haven't done any supernatural at all.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Paranormal, supernatural.
Paranormal. I love it.
It would be out of this world. Done, Brent. Brent, you are my favorite Brent in the whole wide world. And your last name is French. So I love you. So done.
So I'm writing down my ideas for
No, me first. Me first.
I have to go look at my Goodreads list. I haven't read one in a long time.
You're gonna be so good, they're frightening. Now I'm gonna come up with something better.
I love how Lauren has a piece of paper handy.
No, Anna. Oh, I can't say it. I can't say it. That is such a good book. I'm reading it in the chat, but I'm not gonna say it out loud because I might choose that one.
Oh, I know what you're gonna read.
I'm sorry. I am gruesome. I love when there's blood, guts, and gore, and zombies and ghosts and everything. Like that is. I grew up like my high school life was reading Stephen King and Anne Rice and just any horror I could get my hand on. And then of course I grew up, and now the horror movies are getting so realistic I can't watch them.
Yeah.
Because I have an overactive imagination and I feel like I'm going to get possessed every night. So
I read Stephen King when I was like in elementary school. That just it explains a lot, right?
Or R.L. Stein. Oh, remember R.L. Stein?
Yeah.
That you thought that was so scary.
No, I read Stephen
Like
King.
baby
Earl Stein was
horror.
not for me.
Horror books for babies. Oh.
I missed out on a lot. I didn't like to read.
Heart palpitation level horror. Brent, remember this is YA though. Like you gotta cut us some slack. But Brent, I will look just for you, buddy.
They always come in and want.
I got you.
They come in and want scary, and I'm like, my scary, you're scary, and middle school scary, not close.
You've been desensitized because the horror movies are so realistic now because all the good graphics. Like you just can't get a book that scary anymore. Oh, ooh. Okay.
Ellen, you thought of one.
I thought of one. They kind of creep me out just a little bit, just a little.
Who put Anna dressed in blood? That's exactly what I thought she was gonna
No,
say.
no, don't say it.
They guessed it too. It wasn't just me.
Whatever. I remember an elementary book. Remember Wait Till Helen Comes? Did y'all read that? As an elementary kid, that scared the bejesus out of me because it was like this evil spirit going after her little sister. And I thought, oh my gosh, I'm Catholic. I'm going to get possessed. Dolls in the attic. Yes. Oh, that one creeped me out so much. Okay, we're already covering next week. I'm going to stop.
Yeah, enough. All right.
Get in the wardrobe.
In
really?
the wardrobe? No, that was so bad. It was Indian in the cupboard.
Yes.
No. Wasn't the second book the wardrobe?
I don't know, but
I hated that book. I had to teach it to fourth graders. It was awful.
pictures. I think porcelain dolls are creepier.
Books that scare me in elementary, right? Hey, I can never ever have a doll in my room. Well, I'm granted I'm an adult now, but as a kid, I could not have dolls in my room. Like this is why I should never watch movies and read books that are horror.
Scarred by it.
There's a book called Took, and it's got a doll hand on it. All I have to do is pull it out and go, it's got a doll hand and it's in supernatural. It's probably scary.
No, I had a kid that wouldn't even come to the library because I had that book. So yes, that's scary. But we're ruining it. Stop it. You're ruining it.
All right. It's been so much fun, ladies, after Keller Ewing all day long. And
I love it though. Hey, I will book talk any day, any night, all the time.
I had fun too. I think it's time to go though. I'm tired. I'm just saying.
All right.
No
So
late
next week
tired.
we're gonna scare your socks off or pants or whatever other.
Come up with something good. We expect
I've got to find some good puns. Oh my gosh.
All right.
All right. Have a great week, guys. Have fun at Keller U if that's what you're doing,
And
or
keep
just hanging out
reading.
reading, those kinds of things.
I just-
Bye.